Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. So Solana did not manage to break through this resistance zone up here highlighted in red, and it is now, as expected, dropping further today. Already announced earlier today that we are probably going to see a significant drop, and this is what is playing out at the moment. We broke obviously that ascending trend line here recently, had a double top, made even a lower high, and then and that is what I showed you earlier today in the video. We were in this channel. Now this channel has been broken to the downside, and the $122 level was a very important support. That has now been broken, and I also showed you in the previous video this potential head and shoulders pattern. Now this is all playing out now in terms of the patterns, the Elliott wave count, because in terms of the Elliott wave count, we already expected a drop up here. So this hopefully prepared everybody for what is coming at the moment. We could count this as a first impulsive wave to the upside. It is a bit critical here because the structure isn't very clear. To be honest, it actually can also count as an ABC, a three-wave structure, but let's give it the benefit of a doubt. And if we count this here as an impulse, you can do that. Then we would expect the price to come down now after a fifth wave, and this move down. Let's go to the Fib retracements just to repeat what I said in the earlier video. In terms of the Fibonacci retracements, you will expect the price to go at least down to $110. That is the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. Of course, a very important one will be at 101 US dollars. That is the most relevant one, actually, the 101 US dollar level. But the minimum requirement for such a correction, because this was then a larger wave 1, this here is a wave 2 to the downside, and you expect the minimum retracement for that is the $110 level, in this case the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. And that is what I'm primarily looking at here. The alternative, and that is the more bearish scenario, is that all of this here was actually not an impulsive move up. To be fair, there is a lack of structure in this chart, indicating we could really have seen here only an ABC, A, B, C, and that we're now heading down impulsively, which would actually speak for the scenario that we're going to see lower lows. So in this case, you know, both scenarios are possible here, but the correction was coming either way. We talked about that. We talked about the 4-hour chart dropping bearish, the 8-hour chart dropping bearish, the daily. We saw the momentum decline, and yeah, all of that was observable up here. And at the latest point then, when the price dropped below this ascending trend line, that is where that descending or that price dropping scenario was activated. So this is what we're looking at here. Is it already slowing down? How is it looking? I mean, in terms of the head and shoulders pattern actually that we took a look at earlier, if we just define the neckline here, and we could call this a head and shoulders. Let me take the ascending trend line out now because it's been invalidated anyway. The channel has been invalidated, so let's take that out as well. And we've got this head and shoulders here. And in terms of what would be the price target for that head and shoulders, and we can simply take, and that's just a crude measurement, right? The height of that head, and we add it to the breakout point, and that takes us down to, yeah, pretty much that $111 level. So pretty much I think we would be very, very close to that 50% Fibonacci retracement level. And I think this is a confluence of different factors coming together here, which makes it, in my opinion, quite likely that we could actually see that $110 level. Let's take a look at the VPVR. What does the VPVR give us? So the VPVR also gives us the next support at 110 US dollars. So in my opinion, we are going to see this level. Let's take a look at the EMA ribbon. Where is that? So on the 4-hour chart, we dropped below the EMA ribbon. I think we're going to see a short signal here shortly when they all cross to the downside. I think the reason why we probably find currently a little bit of support here is that this is the last support level on the 8-hour chart EMA ribbon. So we obviously need to drop a little bit further to really break that, and that would be below the previous rejection point at $114.50. I think on the daily we are still above. Yeah, on the daily this is also here. So this is providing a bit of support now. So if the price turns around earlier, then this was not yet the wave 2. Yeah, because the wave 2 needs to come down to the $110 level at a minimum. If it turns around earlier, then we need to look at the wave count again. Think about different ways, but at the moment it's looking really impulsively. You can see how the momentum is actually increasing to the downside, in terms of also the daily candles. Every candle is getting bigger and bigger, and here on the daily we haven't even seen that bearish crossover on the daily yet. There are cryptos that have done that yet already, and I expect Solana to catch up with that as well. And if you see that, that would just in my opinion will lead to further price decreases, as it's another sell signal. Here on the 8-hour chart you're also dropping further. Only as soon as we see this turn around, then we need to rethink potentially, because this is, as I always say, only a momentary snapshot of what the prices are doing. As soon as you see any indicators, the momentum change or whatever, this is of course then changing. But as you know, I generally have a longer term perspective, a longer term view, and in terms of that longer term view, so far the price is doing what we expected the price to do. It broke out of this target area that we did define here back end of 2021. So let me just hide the EMA ribbon. It has since moved out of the target area pretty much as expected. It moved above the $122 level, very important level. It has now failed to establish itself above the $122 level. Now that's fine, because it first needs to drop anyway once more. And I've constantly talked about another entry point will be coming, another possibility for anyone who's missed that run will always come. Typically when you start to move up, there will always be another larger dip straight afterwards. This is then, because if it is the first impulsive move up, there will be another corrective move down, and that is typically that wave 2, and the wave 2 corrects down quite a lot. So primarily I expect the price now to drop further. However, bear in mind we come towards now some good support levels. So if the price is turning around here, which at the moment I can't see yet, at the moment for me it's looking like it's dropping further, but of course I'm not sure what happens in an hour. If the price finds support there and decides to turn around, it's doing that. But if we want this to be a wave 2, the price now needs to prove, or the chart needs to prove, that it goes a little bit lower, and then we can have more confidence also in rising prices. Because if it turns around now, again, it could just make another lower high. So I'm waiting really for that $110 level at least, and it's a good sign if we come down a little bit lower, because only then we can be more on the more certain that this here was already an impulse and that we are coming down now in a wave 2 correction. But ideally, what you would generally, looking at this from a high level point of view, this could also just be a 3-wave move at the moment. It's not, if you zoom out on the 8-hour chart, it doesn't look like a 5-wave structure. It looks like an ABC. So again, another option would be to get a clear 5-wave move in. You would want to see here a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. So it has failed so far actually to push that little bit higher, and that wave 4 would then not be allowed. So even in that scenario, the price can come lower, because the wave 4 could come into, well, all the way down to $107 roughly. It cannot come into the wave 1 area, but it can come down lower. And again, in terms of the Fib levels, if we just take a look at what is the Fibonacci, what do the retracements say at the moment, then we are pretty much at here a tipping point. So if this is a wave 4, to get the last wave 5 would be nice, but at least get a more clearer structure for an impulse, then we've actually dropped a little bit too much. So the ideal level for a reversal would be the 38.2% Fib level, $119. Now it's dropped a little bit lower. 111 would also still be possible in a wave 4, but if it drops below 111, then again, then it would not be a wave 4 anymore. It would drop down a little bit too much. Yes, theoretically it could come down to 107, but we also always need to look at probabilities, because if it drops below that $111 level, it's coming lower than what normally a wave 4 would do. So it's all about probabilities. But we saw that correction coming, which hopefully helped you and prepared you for what's coming here at the moment. And as I said, there would always be another entry point. So my view is primarily we see a little bit lower prices here. The correction, in my opinion, has not finished yet, and we are just correcting down what we basically won in the last few weeks. And this is healthy. We need to do those corrections. So going according to plan at the moment, and I think the next maybe the next couple of days will show how much we really come down, and if we are looking here at a wave 4 where we might see some more push to the upside in a 5th wave before we then get the real correction, or is this already the correction of the first impulse, and are we already in a wave 2, which would come down lower? Yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm not doing anything at the moment. I bought Solana down here in my target area. This is of course another entry point. Anybody who's interested and missed the first run, feel free to buy, but you need to make these decisions yourself, of course. This, in my opinion, is an interesting level again after we already moved up to $144. Bear in mind, this is a 20%, 21% discount now. What I would personally do if I was buying now, I wouldn't buy with all my allocation. I would just buy maybe 25% and wait for another dip. If the dip doesn't come, I would save that money for the next dip. That's how I would normally approach it, to dollar cost average into a certain asset. All right, that's my view on Solana. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.